Okay, part 2. There were a couple issues in the example information I had. One, there was a typo in this file, so I fixed the copy pasta from the in the example code. And then in the authorization, the auth.js, we were sending the access token. We need to be sending the ID token. The ID token. Let's try this again. Let's log out of here. And in the profile.rb, let's print out what's in the payload. And I saved a copy of what's in the payload that we get back when we're trying to find it from the authorization, determine what kinds of things can we pull out here. So let's log in. Let's log in with Google. Let's log in with Google. And oops, you know what I need to do first is let me delete. I created, when I was debugging this, I created myself an account. I want to show you what an account looks like from 0. Okay, so the highest profile we have is 6. Cool. So let's log out again. So get rid of my, essentially deleted my account so we can see what it looks like when we create one. So we're going to log in with Google again. And we'll log in with me again. Just reload this page. Too many typos in my code. That did not make me an account, I don't think. It did not. Let's log out and log back in again. I typed in the wrong command for logging the payload. Let's log out and log in and log in.
What is the payload again?
The payload is the information that's encoded in that JWT. So what's in that JWT are things like my name and my profile URL. My profile RB still has an error. Let me restart the server.
Can those things be overridden by a user, like if they want to change their profile picture?
Only if you provide that code for them. So when I create this account, that's now up to you. This code will be run once when that user information is first put into the system, and then you can allow them to change it after that. Okay. So here's that profile information. Right. I got a given name of Gavin, a family name of Stark, a nickname of Gavin, a name of Gavin Stark, and here's my picture URL. That's the picture from Google that is my account name. And now you see that my profile name here is Gavin Stark. Right? Because I pulled my profile name, this is my database object profile name, came from the payload name. Here's a better look at what's inside of that payload. Oh, did I close it? I closed it. That looks like I closed it, darn. I put an example of what the payload looks like in here. So these are all the things that are in the payload. So my given name, my family name, my nickname, my name, my picture, my gender, my email, whether my email is verified, and then the stuff here at the bottom is kind of specific to auth0 and the authorization part. But this part up here, all of these parts here are pretty good, right? So I'm just gonna say the very first time I create my account, I'm gonna make my profile name my payload name, right? I'm gonna pull payload Gavin Stark. Right? If I want to pull my picture, I have a couple of choices. I think most of you are using active storage to associate a profile picture, right? So we could pull this URL down and store it in our profile. What some people do is they say, I'm not going to let you customize your profile picture on my site. If you want to change your profile picture, go change it at Google, right? And that'll be your profile picture. So if that's what I wanted, I don't want to maintain it myself, I can just add a column called profile URL and stick this in it and just render that anywhere in my API, right? If you want to provide the user the ability to change it, what we've got to do is a little bit of work. So we need to pull down that image and stick it into the profile. So this is kind of like how we pulled data from the when we were doing the sample data and we were pulling that. I'm looking for a way of doing it that won't kind of mess anything up here. Trying to find a simple way of pulling that data down here. Open, read, open. Yes. Open, read, open. Well, I guess we're gonna have to do it this way. So what we're gonna want to do is require the library OpenURI, and then the same thing that we did like in your seed file, right? We're gonna attach a profile image and or a cover image to this. We're gonna say profile image attach an IO that comes from opening the payload picture, and we'll give it a file name of profile PNG. Right? This will use their payload picture, open it off of the internet, and supply it as the profile image for this user. Note that this only happens the first time they create their profile, right? So if you then allow them to change that picture, right, that will let them override their profile picture. So let's try that. I'm gonna go and delete my and delete all the IDs more than 6. Those are the sample ones I've created. And this is open URI. There we go. So let's run this again as if I'm logging in for the first time, basically by deleting my account. Then let me log out and then log back in. Log in with Google. Log in with Google. And for some reason, I think I need to reload the page. Oops. And I have a typo here. It's not file name. What is it? Attach file name without an underscore. File name without an underscore. One more time for kicks. Log out. Log in. Yes, auth0. Yes, log in. Did I get any errors? No. Reload the page. Now it says doesn't know what the file name is. Isn't that what we did in the seeds? We attached an IO and a file name. Isn't that what I'm doing here? Oh. Got the wrong thing in the wrong place. Reload. There it is. Right. That pulls in my profile from Google and makes it my profile image. Then, if I have some other way of changing my profile image, then I can change it from there. Right? This code is only run once when I first create the profile that matches my Google login. Right? If there's something in Shay's app that needs me to, or allows me to change my profile image, this code won't ever rerun, right? If I'm allowed to change my name, I can come in and edit my name. This is only the very first time. We can change this such that every time they log in, we check and update their profile image and their username, if that's what your application needs, right? Because this only does find or create by. So this code inside the block only runs when the record is created, not when it's found, right? So this is like a one-time initialization idea, right? Maybe this is what you want, maybe it isn't. If you just want to save the URL, then this picture, payload picture, is the URL of the person. If you don't care about them changing their profile image and whatnot, then you don't need an image attached to their profile. Just store the URL of their profile and render that instead. That's kind of up to you and what you want for your app, right? If you want like, hey, here's your default image and you can change it later if you want, this works perfectly, right? We just added OpenURI to this code, and then we added something very similar to our seed data from a file or the web, and we just feed it the payload picture URL and let that be the profile image that we attach, right? And that becomes the profile image here. Now, as we have this profile, right, in Shay's app, any interested posts or tags that we add to this user will now be associated to the current user. If I log out, I don't know if any of my other, let me log in as a different Google user here when I log in. Log in with Google, and nope, all my profile pictures are exactly the same. Darn it. Here, does somebody else want to come in and log in as their Google, and we'll see if we get somebody else?
I don't have a profile picture.
Okay. Because I was like, oh man, if I log in as these, it's going to be the same username and the same profile picture because I make all my accounts the same. But I was hoping that we could see a different user. We got to figure out why this is not reloading the data when it reloads.
It's on a server, so I would just,
Yeah, that's a thing we can.
like a loading screen or something?
No, it's redirecting you back, but it's not. It's like your MobX isn't refreshing the data, so we got to look to see why that's happening. That may be particular to you, or we may find that happens to everybody. So this is a lot. I'm pretty sure that this guide is now at least more correct. So when you are ready to integrate authentication into your app, just come find me and we will sit down in pairs and I will just work with you to add this to your app. we'll just go back through this again and make sure that it's correct. And then we'll work to add that to your APIs in the right places. So maybe you already have a profile system. We'll make sure that's integrated correctly. Or you want there to be logins, but you haven't added a profile or user model yet. We can do that. We'll just walk through it because there's a lot here. And we'll just walk through your app setup and get that integrated when you're ready to start dealing with having different users logged in. Right. So now in Shay's app, whenever he's creating new posts or working on new posts, right, as long as we're saying current profile authorized posts, current profile post, current profile taggings, right, we'll have all the related information to the person who's logged in. If I logged in as somebody else, let's do this. I'm going to change my profile image on the second account, so I got a different profile image. Right? Let's log into my Suncoast account. Just so we can see there be two different users. Change my profile image. Here, whatever. Upload a random image. Cool, I'll be this car. Whatever. That'll be weird for a hot minute. Right. Let's log out. Let's log in. Log in with Google. Oh. Maybe it hasn't refreshed yet. Does it take a while? Ah. It's going to give me the same thing, isn't it? Nope. Okay, cool. There's I'm a car. All right. And there's me. That's my Suncoast account. If I log out, and I log back in as a different person, I log in. I wonder why that's not updated. I log in as me. Right. It's me. Right. So that would be Gavin Stark, or it would be, Toby, and we would have our different profiles. If we look now at all of our profiles, right, we have more than 6 profiles. Here's profile 6. Here's profile 11, right? That's the first Gavin Stark. Here's profile 12, the second Gavin Stark, right? And they have different auth subs. Google, but this number, Google, and that number, those are my 2 Google identifiers, right? So now anybody can come to this app and log in with their Google account. What if you want to log in with more than just Google? Back on auth0, if we come in and we log back into our auth0 account, we go to our applications and we find Shay's application. Right? We can look at the various connections that we have, and we see that the only social connection we have is to Google. Right? If here we come to connections, social, you'll see that we automatically get Google's social connection first. But if we want to turn on Facebook, Microsoft, GitHub, PayPal, these are all the things you would allow somebody to log in with. Right? So if you want someone to be able to log in with their Amazon account, you can do that. Let's do Facebook, for instance. You'll notice that with Facebook, we need an app ID and a secret. So with Facebook, we have to go through their process of logging into our Facebook environment, setting up an app, naming an app, setting up Facebook login. We've got to go through these steps to make a Facebook app and register it. Then when we're done with all of these steps, then we'll be able to turn on Facebook authentication. And when users get that login with, they'll get Google and Facebook, right? And if we turn on GitHub, right, we get the same thing. We go to our GitHub environment and we make a new app, we register it, we get our ID and secret, we come back and put these back into auth0, we add the access GitHub API, and then we'd have Google, Facebook, and GitHub, right? So you can add more of these if you want. I'm not saying you have to, but if on demo day you're like, I don't think everybody's gonna have a Google account to log in with, you can add Facebook, LinkedIn, GitHub. But also remember, they can still log in to your app if they just want to make a username and password authentication on auth0, right? So they don't have to have Google or any of those because they can just sign up with a username and password if they want. So up to you which integrations you want to go through the effort of creating, right? That's kind of up to you. But you can add more if you want, right? You just got to go through the steps. So if that's the kind of thing you want to do, also come see me if you get stuck. I'll help you walk through those because I've done these before, setting up Facebook stuff. It's usually fairly tricky, but it looks like they've got a decent set of instructions here with pictures on how to go through and do it. So if that's something that interests you, let me know. See, am I a car here yet? No? That's interesting, that hasn't updated. Right?
They have the same UpX issue.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah, they haven't updated their data. Where's my profile? Oh, did I stopped the server? Oh, there's my picture. All right. So I think I've updated the instructions fairly decently. I will commit those to the handbook and push them. But if you're ready, for instance, today to try and get authentication into your app, then come see me and we'll spend 15 minutes together and get it into your app and set up the way you need it to. And we'll be ready to go. I would say you probably want to have a target of like Wednesday to have authentication into your app if that's a thing you're going to do, right? And probably have Thursday as a target to at least have some deployment to Heroku set up so that you're ready for like Friday and the weekend to be able to make sure that things are still in production correctly, right? Because code freeze will be after the weekend we come back, and that Tuesday will be busy with people finishing up last minute. Hey, this doesn't work. I can't get image uploading to work in production. There's an issue with something, right? So as you look at your to-dos, you probably want to stage some of those to make sure that you've got these bits ready to go. So I'm here all afternoon today. So if you just want to come find me or make a queue, and I will work with you to get authorization in your app if you feel like you're ready for that part. I know, like Kenny, we've got some things to work on your app just to get things up and running. And you may have things you're in the middle of, but when you get to the break and you think you're ready for authentication, come find me and we'll get that set up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna work on front end stuff until you're ready to tackle that.
Okay.
Watch videos and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Yep. And if you've got stuff on your to-do list, right, now is not the time to spend a lot of time stuck on things or work on it, but come ask questions. Even if you just want to come to me with your, hey, this is what my app is doing. This is what my to-do list currently looks like. What do you think? Is this a good order to work on things? I'm happy to look at that as well, right? So if you don't want to come and ask a bunch of questions, at least come show me what your app is doing and show me what your to-do list is so we can make sure that you're using this time appropriately. Question?
I've had one, I'm I'm just curious if this fixes that issue. Like whenever I click on like a post, getting the ID to show a post with comments, yada yada, but when I refresh the page, it drops it. Does the authorization fix that?
No, it's probably something else, and it may be related to why we have to reload your page just to get the data loaded. So let's take a look at that. When we sit down to get authorization really working in your app, let's take a look at that. Cool. All right, I will push this set of instructions up with the fixes that we had from class today, and make sure that this is all good.